Meanwhile, as the starvation continues and like Western outlets are finally reporting on it, the cover of Time magazine was staged. Why did they have to stage a photo of children starving? You have been played, says Eve Fartlow. Complete lie, as shown by alternate angles that show aid workers at the site distributing food. The photo you're claiming is staged was taken right before the distribution began. Insane that this person that got 15,000 likes for this, by the way, is capable of existing in polite society after doing such a thing. Because this is not any different than what Nick Fuentes has done, denying the ovens by claiming that, by doing like cookie memes and claiming that 6 million Jews didn't actually die. You're doing it. You're doing it in real time right now.
Max says, if I take 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies and Cookie Monster has 15 ovens, working 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years, how long does it take Cookie Monster to make 6 million batches of cookies? The math doesn't quite seem to add up there. I don't think you'd result in 6 million, maybe 200 to 300,000 cookies.
This is precisely the same thing. And the Israeli Foreign Ministry is going along with it as well. Pallywood debunked. The Israeli Foreign Ministry is applying the term Pallywood, something that only we knew about because this used to be said by like some of the most rabid Kahanis freaks. Now it's the Israeli Foreign Ministry that is getting comfortable enough to say Pallywood, that it's all fake, it's all staged. It's just atrocity denial, it's genocide denial. And of course, Bild is the most pro-Netanyahu outlet. What a coincidence. A German newspaper, Bild, claims famine in Gaza is staged 2 weeks after his publisher, Netanyahu's close friend, gets awarded Israel's highest presidential medal. Same newspaper was caught publishing complete fakes leaked from Netanyahu's office last year. This was a big controversy for Bild. Publisher of Bild newspaper close to Netanyahu to receive presidential decoration. This is like Hitler awarding the Medal of Bravery to Henry Ford for his pamphlets that he wrote about Jewish people. His like anti-Semitic newspaper. It's no different. That's real, by the way. Hitler did do that to Henry Ford. Henry Ford was a massive fascist, a psychopath. Yeah. According to Israeli logic, the mere act of taking a photo of hungry people affected by Israel's blockade means that starvation in Gaza is fake. They're staged. Using that same logic, because photos were taken of Holocaust victims, it means the Holocaust was staged. Don't fall for it. It is straightforward atrocity. It's the same principle that Holocaust deniers use to this day and used back then as it was unfolding. How insane, dude. Here's footage of the same site as the Time magazine photo that Bill Ackman and others are saying was staged. They will all retract and apologize after watching this. Of course they won't. You can tell by countless details that it is the precise same site that photographer did not stage it. Wait, Bill Ackman deleted the tweet? That's surprising. The damage has already been done. Honestly, I think the only thing that these guys are damaging is their own reputation. I don't think people at this stage will forget how psychotic these freaks have been. Remember, when I used to use terminology like this, people would shy away. People will get a little scared. Remember a year ago or 2 years ago? People will go, oh, dude, I don't know. Is it okay to call them freaks and monsters? Think about how much that was farmed. A year ago, when I used to say, you're a scumbag, genocide denying monster, there were probably a bunch of libs, bunch of squishy libs who refused to reckon with this reality that turned around and said, oh, God, Hasan, you're a little too hateful for my taste. Now they're using the same terminology. Like I've said, the only remaining hurdle here is the but Hamas, but October 7. Israel is starving the population, but Hamas. And as time continues, I think more and more people will realize that that is not a real defense. This is true. I thought you were too hateful, but now I realize you had a reason. Yeah. That's the reason why I never shied away from openly stating the reality that Hamas and Israel are not even on the same wavelength of evil, okay? Like, not even comparable. Israel has been and will forever be the responsible party for all of the atrocities that unfold, including against the Israeli civilian population. This is why I said that on October 8th, and I never stopped saying it, because it's the truth. If these are genocidal atrocities unfolding in broad daylight in real time, how do you expect people not to resist against said genocide? What is the expectation here? That they just starve quietly? That they die quietly? It's bullshit.
Is said to be ordering a full conquest of the Strip after talks with Hamas broke down. A source tells CNN the IDF objects to the move, but Israeli media cites senior officials close to Netanyahu saying if the IDF chief of staff does not agree, he should resign. Joining us at our fifth seat at the table is Peter Beinart, author of Being Jewish After the Destruction of Gaza. So full occupation, Peter, what would that do? What would that change?
I hope, but I also think this is a bluff. The Israeli people do not want this. I think what Netanyahu is trying to do is trying to bluff and hope that that will provide the ceasefire on terms that he wants, because a full conquest of Gaza would be an utter.
No, they do. Peter, they do, bro. Come on, man. 79% of Israeli Jews said that they do not care at all, or they do not care enough about the starvation in Gaza. Only 0.8% of Jews polled by the Israeli Democracy Institute have said that they have no opinion on this. The reason why there is a demographic designation between Israeli Jews and Arabs is because that is Israel's own demographic distinction, for the record.
Look, whether it happens or not,
What?
frankly,
Dude,
the
this is
truth is
for-
Israel should have never left Gaza, because before 2005, we did not have a terrorist state. We had a booming economy. We had equality for the sexes. We didn't have gays being thrown off rooftops. But when Israel dragged every last man...
Oh, she just did the unlimited faucet. She just did all the things. Yeah, controversial far-right attorney Brooke Goldstein was platformed on CNN as a human rights attorney during a segment with John Berman and Pete Beinart. She's also on record saying there's no such thing as a Palestinian person.
I just wanted to mention that. Why are we using the word Palestinian? There's no such thing as a Palestinian person.
Yeah, disgusting, evil, monstrous piece of shit.
And the third point really is, are they refugees or are they not refugees? Because if Gazans are Palestinian refugees, then Gaza is not their home, and they should be relocated so that they are not used by Hamas as human shields. If they
Yeah, they should be. To Israel proper, where they were pushed away from. I agree. 750,000 Palestinians forcibly excised from their ancestral homeland by Zionist brigades at the nation state's inception. Yeah, move them back. Give them a right to return. I agree. I don't think she does. When she says relocated, she's talking about a concentration camp. She's talking about other Arab countries. That's what she's talking about, because all Arabs are the same. It's a monolithic force of evil.
if Gaza is their home, then the entire premise upon which the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict...
It's insane, dude. What are we doing here? CNN at this stage is still like having a far-right, rabid, ultra-Zionist. And then like the only counter to this is like Peter Beinart. Like the equivalent to this person is someone who just is going to stand there and straight up be like, October 7 was awesome and should happen a million times over. But she, of course, is seen as like a reasonable person, a human rights lawyer. It's ridiculous.
Looks like a concentration camp survivor who was forced to dig his own grave. When the body of Eden Yerushalmi, after she was...
Yeah. Palestinians do not look like concentration camp survivors. Only the Israeli hostage looks like a concentration camp survivor. Interesting. Well, Israel is the one denying the Israeli prisoner of war, not a hostage. He's a military member, okay? Prisoner of war. Israel is the one who is starving him all the same. It's not like they got tremendous amounts of food in there and Hamas is just like, nope, we're not going to give it to you. It's crazy. Think about it. The only person that's starving in the Gaza Strip is the one Israeli soldier? Really? After a week of denying the starvation, you turn around and you say, yeah, actually, starvation Israel, it's the one Israeli guy in the strip.
Do you like to blame Israel for everything? Israel did not destroy their hospitals, destroy their schools.
No.
The schools and the hospitals that I've been to have been used as places for rocket depots, and most of those hospitals are used as Hamas for their headquarters. Hamas is responsible.
If people were as knowledgeable as they are now about the atrocities that Israel has committed throughout its 80-year of occupation, brutal occupation, the ruthless violence that they subject the Palestinians to, this wouldn't have played as well as it did on October 8th either. That's why I was saying what I was saying on October 8th. That's why many who were already involved in pro-Palestinian emancipation and pro-Palestinian advocacy were saying what they were saying on October 8th. You can't make it everybody else's problem that you were not knowledgeable. She's trying to pull the 10/8/2023 commentary on August 5th, 2025. It doesn't work anymore. It should have never worked, but unfortunately, because of the void in the media in terms of covering the Palestinian position and recognizing the humanity of Palestinians, it did work on 10/8/2023. And it worked for quite a while, but it doesn't work anymore. And these guys can't handle it. That's why they get increasingly more belligerent. That's why they do Pallywood. Like, I never thought I would see straightforward Pallywood sentiment, straightforward atrocity denial, straightforward genocide denial being mainstreamed in American news, dude.
Given where things are now, this stalemate, would things be better if Israel took over Gaza, complete occupation?
No, I actually think I think this issue is more nuanced than people give it credit for. And a lot of times we debate this issue.
Bakari sellout. Guys, let me be the voice of reason here. It's a little bit more nuanced and more complex. There is nothing complex about genocide, Bakari. Shut the up. Interesting. Also, another paid actor for Israel presenting himself as the reasonable third party here that's far removed from the equation. Let me be the nuanced voice. Yeah, also, obviously, Bakari sellout, you know, being a hack who looks like $1 billion and throws progressives under the bus. Where could they have possibly gotten that from? New super PAC aims to elect pro-Israel black Democrats, including challenger to Rashida Tlaib. Bakari Sells, a political commentator who appears in the PAC's literature as a spokesman, told Politico that Israel was definitely high up on the list in the decision by the super PAC to endorse Janice, whatever, I can't read the last name, the Detroit city clerk who's challenging incumbent Democrat Representative Rashida Tlaib. Tlaib is Israel's most strident critic in Congress and the only one who openly says it should not exist as a Jewish state. Oh, so she's been right all along. Oh, wow. I wonder how that happened. Yeah, look, you may not like Bakari's those pragmatic ways, but at least he's electable. Oh, no, never mind.
If we're admitting that we can't negotiate with terrorists, we can't expect the terrorists to be on the up and up. It's Israel that has to do this. And there's only one common denominator in these last 38 years in that entire region. His name is Benjamin Netanyahu. He's the one common denominator in all of this. He's from the PLA to every...
The only thing I would disagree with you on is the fact that is the only common denominator. Because, yes, you can't diminish the fact that Hamas does not believe Israel has a right to exist. And if we're going to sit here...
Shut the up, Bakari, you're a liar. That's not true. 2018 Hamas charter actually dictates they want 1967 boundaries. In more than 30 different negotiations processes, Hamas has actively said over and over and over again that they want 1967 boundaries and 2 states with full sovereignty for the Palestinian states. That's it. Shut the up. You're lying. These people are just lying. That's all they're doing. Okay? They're just liars. And the only reason why this kind of lie works is because people are not knowledgeable of the actual situation, because everyone else in the media is lying as well. Hamas wants a 2-state solution. I don't even know how we're going to get to the process of denazification. Like, how do we do re-education, rehabilitation? How do we do that? How do we do that for Israel? How do we do that for the 79% of Israeli Jews that look to the starvation in Gaza right now to this day, okay, that's happening, that's unfolding in real time, and with the full knowledge of that starvation still say, we don't care. What do you do with that? That's the real question that we should be asking ourselves.
And all I'm saying is that there is a space for all of us to simply say that we want this to come to a peaceful resolution where there should not be a decision between inhumanity and cruelty. Correct. And I should be able to say that Benjamin Netanyahu is an impediment to peace. And I should also be able to say that Hamas can go to hell. I should be able to say both of those.
Why?
Yeah, hang on, brother.
Why? I should be able to say Hamas can go to hell? Okay, if you want peace, they are the motherfuckers that have been trying to do peace. They are. They 100% are. They have tried actively, desperately, over and over again, in spite of the starvation, in spite of the genocide. They are the ones who are the reasonable party here. 100%. You will never hear that in mainstream news. Peter Beinart will not say that, or maybe give it a couple months. Maybe he'll start saying it too. But ultimately, no one on a CNN panel is going to sit there and literally tell you the truth. That's what's so crazy about this, because this is not an exaggeration. This is not an exaggeration. It is just an accurate reflection of events. That's what's so crazy about it. I am not demanding that these guys become biased in the direction of the Palestinians. I'm just saying, be biased in the direction of the truth, please. Just a little bit, just a crumb of real analysis of the events that have unfolded after 22 months. I don't know about Hamas. What do you mean you don't know about Hamas? You don't have to know about Hamas. The only thing you need to know is the truth. There are 2 parties to a negotiation. One party has executed the principal negotiator in another country. That's not Hamas that did that. It was Israel that did that. They killed Ismail Haniyeh on Iranian soil. There have been numerous instances where Hamas has put forward a ton of concessions over and over and over again. Their only demand is a permanent cessation of hostilities. They've broken it down to a 3-phase ceasefire negotiation. Israel broke that ceasefire negotiation. Israel refused to entertain that permanent cessation of hostility.
I'm going to talk. So I will say this. President Trump has said that he sees starvation in Gaza and it bothers him. He says that the First Lady Melania Trump sees starvation in Gaza and it bothers him.
Why is this 360p?
The Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, says he sees starvation in Gaza and it bothers him. If that's the baseline here, then what do you do? And I go back to the question, the original question about you, and you jump in on any subject you want here, but occupation, reoccupation, full reoccupation of Gaza, what would that change? Would that free the hostages, for instance?
So I was expecting to come in here like guns blazing, but I've been...
Yeah, Batya Unger Sargon is another one of these freaks. Okay, so on this panel, you got one guy who's like wishy-washy, both sidesing it a little bit. Okay, you got Peter Beinart, who is like supposed to be the pro-Palestinian position, which, by the way, there's plenty of people who are definitely even more aggressive than Peter is. But he is the pro-Palestinian person here. You have a literal envoy of Israel and another rabid, psychopathic envoy of Israel. So it's 3 versus 1.5. What are we doing? Is this Jubilee? Are we doing surrounded by Nazis? How is this any different? There should be at least one guy who can convincingly say on this panel that Israel is an apartheid ethno-state that is built on the values of Jewish supremacy and is currently doing a genocide, and therefore, of course, it does not have a right to exist. What are we talking about? Are we having a conversation about whether or not Nazi Germany has a right to exist? Are we having a conversation about the British occupation of Ireland? Do they have a right to occupy Ireland? Does France have a right to occupy Algeria? Does South Africa as an apartheid state have a legal right to exist? No, we're not having those conversations. Oh, well, does the Confederacy have a right to exist? Let's discuss. Here we have 4 slavers versus one person who believes black people are human. What a insane conversation this is.
Free the hostages, for instance.
So I was expecting to come in here like guns blazing, but I've been totally disarmed by Bakari, like legitimate to my core. Like I'm so moved by everything that you said.
Shut the I can't watch the rest of this. It's making me lose my mind, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. I, as an Israel defender, am moved to tears by the other Israel defender on the panel. Okay.
People will say, I condemn Hamas, but they never blame them because
I don't know what to say. I can't. I loop back around from being uncontrollably angry to laughing at the notion that, like, people are not sufficiently upset at Hamas, which the American State Department is designated as a terrorist organization. That's the problem, you know? You just don't hate Hamas enough. No, the real problem is you don't hate Israel enough, okay? Hamas is not the one doing a genocide. Israel is. What the are we talking about?
there's this view that the party with less power has zero moral responsibility.
Yes, they do not. They do not have a moral responsibility for the genocide that Israel is committing. They don't. No matter how hard you say, oh, but Hamas, but Hamas, but Hamas. Yes, Israel is responsible for the genocide. Are the Jews responsible for the Holocaust? Would you say that? Would you turn around and say, but the Jews? But what about the socialists? What about the trade unionists? What about the Jewish partisans? Would they be responsible for the Holocaust? No, of course not. Which is precisely the reason why Hamas is not responsible for the Holocaust of the Palestinians. Shut the up. As a matter of fact, if someone were to say that on a panel like that, everyone would yell at that person in perpetuity. They would literally delete the footage. They would not even upload that shit. That's the difference.
We're losing our humanity. We're legitimately losing our humanity in all this argument. The images that you see of one person that looks exactly like the other person,
Hamas has been in power for so long.
Hamas has been in power.
The irony is I'm the only person at this table who's actually risked my life to advocate for Palestinian children. I spent 2 years in and out of Jenin, Ramallah, Tulkam, and Nablus. I'm the one who interviewed Hamas firsthand. I interviewed Islamic Jihad firsthand. I sat with the Al-Aqsa Martyr Brigades, and they told me,
you are a Nazi. I interviewed Hamas so I could come here and tell you they are barbaric apes that must be killed. That's why I interviewed Hamas. I risked my life talking to Hamas. I risked my life. Were you risking your life defending Palestinian children from the Israeli military? Is that who you were risking your life against?
To my face that they want war. This is not about Hamas. This is about an ideology. And
I interviewed Hamas and they told me, I hate Jews. I hate Jews. I want to kill Jews, said Hamas. Yeah, this is the same lady that last year, as I showed you earlier, said, there's no such thing as a Palestinian human, a Palestinian person. Why are we saying Palestinian?
Ideology is
you don't wipe
radical
an ideology out by bombing an ideology.
Children in their schools, in their textbooks, to revere death, to love death, and not to love life. And they use
this is so gross. This is so racist and gross. Hamas, the Palestinian children are being taught to hate Jews by Hamas in the textbook. In the textbook, the Juden children are being taught at an early age to hate the volk, who are heaven sent. The Übermensch will rise up. Oh yes, this is why we must put them in the concentration camp, because the Jews, they are being taught. They're being taught to hate the Germans, the real Germans. Ja, jawohl. A report published by The Guardian revealed close cooperation between Israel's Unit 8200 and Microsoft to monitor and store all phone calls made by Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, which constitutes one of the largest military espionage projects in the world. The call monitoring system began operating in 2022 and has since been able to record millions of civilian voice calls. Jesus Christ. Oh, for Palestinians in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, too. Oh, my God, Microsoft. This was the local call 972 Guardian collaborative expose, I believe. Yeah, he did it. They did it with Yuval Abraham, who is one of the 972 magazine investigative reporters in Israel. Here's the summarization from Bonser Berry. 1 million calls an hour. Israel's Unit 8200 is relying on Microsoft's cloud for expansive surveillance of Palestinians. The Israeli military undertook an ambitious project to store a giant trove of Palestinian phone calls on Microsoft servers in Europe. Despite Microsoft downplaying the partnership, claiming it's not used for lethal means, Unit 8200 sources said intelligence drawn from the enormous repositories of phone calls held in Azure had been used to research and identify bombing targets in Gaza. One of the sources said that when planning an airstrike of an individual located within densely populated areas where a high number of civilians are present, officers would use the cloud-based system to examine calls made by people in the immediate vicinity. Microsoft is directly participating in the genocide of Palestinians, but this is the reality of techno-fascism. Speaking of issues, U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee faces questions over starvation in Gaza and aid sites.
At least the Israeli government is considering a full takeover of Gaza in its battle to destroy Hamas. That led to this protest last night at the gates of Israel's military headquarters, with protesters demanding a ceasefire and the return of hostages. Deborah Patta spoke to U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee this morning about the war and humanitarian crisis.
President Trump has said there's real starvation in Gaza, and he appeared deeply troubled by images of starving children. Have you been similarly moved?
I'm moved when the photos are verified.
But they are real images.
Oh, I think that there are certainly people suffering in Gaza. It's happening because Hamas has not allowed the food to get to the people who are hungry.
We spoke to the World Food Program, and they have not been shown any evidence of this at all.
I'm shocked they would say.
He's a sick freak, by the way. I mean, he is. That's why he is the ambassador, for the record. For those of you who are wondering, why is this sick, freaky pervert the ambassador? This is the reason. I mean, this is a true religious zealot. First of all, he's the ambassador to Israel, not Jewish, evangelical Christian. Important to notice. Important to mention, because these are this is the real backbone of the unconditional support to Israel's genocide people in American society. There are edge cases. There are ultra-Zionist Jews in this country, certainly, okay? And they fund the Trump campaign. Some of them also fund Democrats as well. You got AIPAC, all this shit. But if you want to know on a numbers basis what the real backbone of the American pro-Israeli movement is, it's motherfuckers like Mike Huckabee. These guys are the real base for pro-Israel politics in this country. There aren't that many Jews in general, okay? There aren't that many Jews in the United States of America or even around the world. But there are a ton of evangelical Protestant Zionists out there who love Israel and have a theological justification for unconditionally, uncompromising loyalty to the state of Israel and defending Israel no matter what.
Ambassador, the U.S. has thrown its support and money behind GHF.
It's a U.S. program.
And yes, it's a U.S. program. And yet, every single day, there are people dying near GHF sites.
Tell me about the people dying at the GHF sites. In what way?
So you have no reports of anybody being killed near a GHF site?
No, we've had reports that there have been incidences, but forgive me if I'm a little skeptical when someone says, these people are being killed at the GHF sites. And if there was some random shooting of people who are coming for food, those people would be consequenced severely.
Yeah, right. It's all fake. And I guess maybe because it's like Donald Trump's administration doing it, and it's like it's happening with such regular frequency that like even the media at this point is basically going, I don't think this is correct. I was talking to a couple friends of mine about this last night. The president of J Street came out and openly admitted that Israel is doing a genocide. Now, J Street is supposed to be a counter to AIPAC, is supposed to be the liberal Zionist group, right? J Street, as a liberal Zionist advocacy group for Israel, literally in the beginning of October 2023, was sending messages to all of the progressive politicians that they donate to say, do not even mention the word ceasefire. So over the course of 22 months, liberal Zionist J Street went from, you are not allowed to say the word ceasefire, we will do everything in our power to destroy you if you even mention the word ceasefire, to openly admitting that Israel is doing a genocide. Now, on the one hand, this spells a major, major change in attitude, even amongst advocacy groups. But on the other hand, I think the reason why, and they're outflanking Bernie Sanders at this point for the record, but the reason why I think J Street is doing this is because they recognize the reality that is unfolding and that is slated to come, because the Trump administration is saying, do whatever you want. Clearly, they're telling Benjamin Netanyahu they can do permanent military occupation. So I think a lot of these like advocacy organizations and whatnot are trying to do ass covering at this point after years and years of defending Israel. They're realizing that it's no longer a defensible position and they don't want to be associated with it. So they're trying to pull the exit ramp. They're trying to pull off as quickly as they can in an effort to defend what remains of their credibility.
According to the UN, over 1,400 people have been killed trying to get food, mostly, they say, by IDF gunfire, nearly 900 near GHF sites. Increasingly strong language is being used about...
Team leader at Gaza aid distribution sites belonging to the Anti-Jihad Motorcycle Club has Crusader tattoos by Sam F. Biddle. Team leader at Gaza aid distribution sites belongs to Anti-Jihad Motorcycle Club has Crusader tattoos. Johnny Taz Mulford, who works for a security contractor in Gaza, has tattoos of Crusader-style crosses that have been co-opted by the far right. Great. These are the guys who are shooting at the children. But also, guess what? You know who else has these Crusader tattoos? The Secretary of Defense, dude. The head of the DOD. Oh, it's just like white Christian nationalists.
Israel's prosecution of this war, including from Israeli organizations. They've been accused of genocide.
If Israel is attempting genocide, they're really, really bad at it. They could have had genocide on October the 8th. If they were trying to commit genocide, it would not have taken them 22 months to do it.